What's going on, wrestler family? Welcome back to the channel. I know I'm late to this whole conversation here, but I still want to give you guys my thoughts on this entire thing. And if you're late to it, well, apparently, as you see on the screen, Friday Night SmackDown in January 2025 is moving to 3 hours. And this is what the reports are saying. It doesn't necessarily mean this is true, but a lot of people are talking about this. So along with a brand new logo, a brand new theme song that everybody seems to hate, they're going to move from 2 to 3 hours. They said 2 hours ain't enough. I want all three of y'all put some respect on my name, and I'm not saying this no more. So what we're going to do is continue to read this article and try to determine whether this is a good idea or a bad idea. Before we get into this, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and let's get into this. So this article reads, oh, Bianca Belair, what's up, girl? How you doing? It says here, WWE SmackDown will undergo another significant change next year. With Monday Night Raw moving to Netflix in January 2025, SmackDown will now be adding a third hour, starting the same time, according to report by WrestleVotes Radio. And from what I understand, WrestleVotes is pretty legit. That's what people have told me. If they say it, it's a good chance that it already came out of the mouth of Triple H. So that's what they telling me. We'll see if this is true. And that means for us in the central time zone, SmackDown will be ending at 10 o'clock. People on the East Coast, it will be ending at 11, which I get that it's Friday night, but 11 o'clock is still kind of crazy, especially if you got stuff to do on Saturday morning. And on the East Coast, y'all figure it out. I don't know what y'all do over there with time zones, but salute to the Rams. We trash this season. But anyway, moving on, it says, before we move off of SmackDown, our first real WrestleVotes tidbit here as we're going on this backstage pass regarding SmackDown is that we have learned that starting January 3 show 2025, SmackDown will indeed shift to 3 hours. Shout out to Kai and Ty. And you can tell they're from across the pond because they say January 3 show as opposed to 3rd. But salutes to the people over there. If you're watching my channel, I really appreciate you guys. I love you guys. The next paragraph says, the other big news here and the rumor is that once the show ends, it will be available on Netflix. Wow. Which we haven't heard elsewhere. Those are the internal talkings right now, is that probably the day after SmackDown will be available on Netflix. But the real nugget here is that starting January 3rd, the show will be 3 hours. That is very, very interesting. And I'll tell you why in a few seconds. It continues, it says, the news comes from after the Blue brand moved back to USA Network after a 5-year stint in Fox. Last week, okay, this is basically all the stuff that I've already said. So, before I get into what I think about this, I want to say this. The fact that it's going to be available on Netflix the day after it airs, if this is true, is very, very, very interesting. And the reason why I say this is it's gonna cause a little bit of chaos, okay? And the reason why I say this is because if Raw is going to be available on Netflix, SmackDown is going to be available on Netflix the day after. So if a person can't afford all these different streaming services and streaming apps, of course can't afford cable, because cable is about almost the same as a car note nowadays, or at least half of it, why would they want to watch USA Live? Right? Unless they're obviously a content creator and they may want to see things live. But even outside of that, for people, especially across the pond, if they want to sleep in or just wait till later to watch the full episode of SmackDown on Netflix, why would they invest in any streaming apps or any video on demands or anything like that to watch SmackDown live? Wouldn't that hurt USA a little bit? Like if you get what I'm saying, like, wouldn't that hurt them? Because if people opt in to watch it on Netflix, which they're already paying for, why watch USA? Why do it at that point? But obviously they must got some type of deal in place where it all makes sense. So I don't know. I want to see how that's going to all work out. Also, I have a theory about this whole thing, which it isn't anything new. It's not anything crazy. It's probably just common sense. But this is obviously a move for money. Of course, you take a show, you take it to a network, you make it 3 hours long, you get more ads, you get more ad revenue, which means the station makes more money, where in turn you make more money, you become valuable. I get that whole thing. But the part that concerns me about this entire thing is that, of course, Endeavor is here to try to generate more money. And we just heard recently that Endeavor decided to cut more live shows because they felt like it wasn't financially, it didn't make sense. Like the money that they were bringing in versus the money they were spending on making these live shows didn't make sense. So as years go on, they're starting to cut more live shows out. So in saying that, I'm wondering if they're making this move to try to generate more money to fill in the gap of the money that they may lose from not having as many live shows. In the sense of SmackDown being 3 hours, that means that it's not going to cost the same as it would if it was 2 hours for people actually going to those shows. That means how much it costs to go there is going to go up. You know, when demand goes up, so does the prices. So in doing so, now that you got 2 3-hour shows, does in the pay-per-views, the price for the pay-per-view so far, I mean, I saw my ticket last year for Survivor Series compared to what people pay now, even for the smaller PLEs. If they send the prices up on SmackDown, are they pricing out some of their fans that don't have the money to actually go to these shows like this? And that was my concern when they started ruling out a lot of those live shows. And I'm just talking about people who actually physically go to these shows. So how do they benefit from this? Because they're going to have to charge higher. And with pay-per-views being higher nowadays, it's almost like you might as well not even go to the other 3 pay-per-views or any pay-per-views. You might as well just save your money and go to WrestleMania at this point, the way that they're charging for PLEs. So I say all to say this. Although SmackDown going 3 hours makes the most business sense, as far as entertainment value, I don't think it's a good idea. I don't. I mean, they're going to have to buff up the roster on SmackDown. They're going to have some really compelling stories to tell. The plus about this is the fact that more wrestlers get an opportunity to be on TV, which gives them more opportunity to shine. So I'm happy for them in that sense. And maybe by having that happen, their value, their contract, the amount they make the next time they re-sign can go up, because now we have an extra hour to tell some of the stories, which a lot of people had a problem with SmackDown compared to Raw, because they felt like Raw had more time and room to tell a story, but SmackDown was way too short. And we saw that, you know, sometimes it hurts certain matches. I feel like the Michin and the Piper Niven match was a victim of the time in SmackDown. So maybe it'll alleviate those type of problems. But overall, I don't know how many people are willing to watch a 3-hour show. So you got SmackDown 3 hours, you got Raw 3 hours, then you got NXT that's 2 hours, and then you got main events coming on Saturday. So I don't know why they just can't take the matches that they were going to air on SmackDown that didn't make the show and just put them on main event the day after. Like, why not do something like that? And you got speed for some people. So for me, I don't know how this makes sense. At the end of the day, I'm still gonna watch the show, even with all this thinking so hard about this. But I personally don't feel like it's a good idea. You know, if you're a person who just solely watches WWE, maybe it doesn't matter to you. If you don't have much to do on Friday nights, maybe this is perfect for you. And you probably you're a fan of a wrestler who's on SmackDown that you feel like doesn't get enough TV time. This probably can be great for whoever that wrestler is. But for the most people who are viewers or people who are going to the shows, how is that going to hurt their pockets, and how is going to affect their, you know, weekly or daily life as far as being a wrestling fan? But I don't know. I don't think it's a good idea. You guys let me know in the comment section what you guys think. I would love to hear what you have to say. I appreciate you guys. I will most likely be going live tonight for SmackDown. So if you are available, join me on this channel tonight. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Salute, peace. Have a great day.